When you look up at the night sky, it can tell you stuff about your future. It won't lie to you. It's pure that way. You might see a lot more than you wanted. But if you have heart, you have hope. And you have heart in you.
The world, Chuck. Everything you've ever loved. Everything you see. Every year that you live, that world will get bigger and brighter. And more detailed and complex. You fill the whole thing. It'll be a universe. Isn't that wonderful?
Hello, good afternoon, Chiwetel. Carolyn for Karen Talks YouTube and podcast channel. Thank you so much for joining us for this interview today. So something that I had no idea what this film was about going in, so I was completely taken over by how existential it is. And I want you to talk about the idea, the concept of containing multitudes. So saying that that's the phrase that I've used before. I've said I contain multitudes. I like to say sometimes I'm a woman of vast potential, you know, but something that I want you to talk about is containing multitudes as a performer, because what the concept of multitudes in this film is about is like each person that we meet, each environment that we're in, whether it's a school, work, romance, that's the universe that people create within themselves unconsciously in their mind. But as a performer, you contain multitudes with all the characters that you've played, all the universes that you've inhabited on sets and productions. And in talking about multitudes, there's some that stay with you and the universes that stay with you. And as you're going on, like they leave you eventually, like they're worn out. So I want you to talk about containing multitudes as an actor, the personas that you have to take on and being able to let them go when it's time to let them go, when it's time to say goodbye. And because I think saying goodbye is a big part of this film, like being able to say goodbye. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, great. Thank you. It's a great question. I think that I think it's very true that you know, as an actor, you have that very direct link to this concept, to this idea of containing multitudes, and that's one of the great privileges, you know, of being an actor, and it's one of the reasons that I think that I wanted to be an actor, you know, because I wanted to express myself, but I didn't want to necessarily express myself as myself, you know, which you know, it felt a bit creatively naked, I guess, and I didn't, and so very early in my working life, very early in, like when I stepped on stage, maybe even for one of the first times, and you know, was doing like a Shakespeare play or something with either the youth theatre that I was close to growing up or at my high school. I just immediately felt like I could express things about myself through these other people, through these other characters, and there was a kind of release and a catharsis in that. And it was the reason that I sort of fell in love with being a performer, really, and that also other people could see aspects of themselves through these characters, and so there was a kind of communal catharsis that kind of can happen in a theater space, and so these sort of, and these characters to some degree, because you know, it's impossible, I think, to play a part that isn't in you somewhere. You know, it's very hard to connect to parts that you don't understand, you know. So so these characters are, you do carry them around, you know, they do, they are a part of you. And even though you do try, I think, to put them away, I don't know if it really works like that. You know, I feel like you can consciously sort of put them aside. But I think once you've investigated that part of yourself, it's always sort of there. You know, it's always kind of quietly in the corner. And that's sort of what I feel. I feel like I can't, if I look back on the work that I've done and and I look at a character or I look at the part that I played, I immediately get a residual feeling of that character. You know what I mean? Like I immediately feel like I sit back into it just a tiny bit. Even just reading the name of it or the title of the piece, you know. And this can be 20, 25 years, in some cases 30 years later. And so, yeah, I think that there is a kind of, I think it's one of the things that appealed to me about this film was this idea of containing multitudes and how actors sit very, very fully within that concept.
Yeah, it's fascinating idea concept for me because I never thought of it with regards to the people we meet. I always think of containing multitudes as just like our talents, the things we love, our personal passions. But the film made me really think of like how actors inhabit characters and spaces. But thank you so much for talking with us and like fantastic film. I love existential films. I love films like that. So thank you.
Thank you.